Hey guys, welcome back to CheatSheetPros.com. Today's Monday, the last day of February, so it's the 28th of 2022, and we're going to take a look at some prize picks for the NBA slate tonight and also for the college hoop slate. I found about 5 or 6 that popped in college, and I want to take a look at those. And then I've got about 5 in the NBA right now, but I'm still doing some research. Some lines weren't out yet, but I wanted to get a video up this morning, so we had something to kind of tinker with. I've got a lot of college basketball best bets for tomorrow. Didn't see a lot that I liked on the slate today, so make sure to stay tuned tomorrow. I've picked out about 7 games that I really like, so I'm waiting on the lines to pop on those. So let's go ahead and take a look. So I posted a price picks card yesterday, 5 players in the NBA, and 4 of 5 hit. The 5th one missed by a half a point. Just barely almost got there. So I've missed a 10x card now by a half a point 4 different times in the last couple of weeks, so it's a little frustrating. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So as always, we're going to pull up the NBA cheat sheet that you can use for sports betting, player props, and we have our daily fantasy information. Have another diamond play here today if you're playing fantasy. We've got our DVP tab that's got all of our information on it. Let me go ahead and extend that over, and it goes over as far as you want to and gives you as many stats as you can handle. We have our tiers, we have our bet tab, and then bet tab we can flip through, take a look at the individual games. We have our prop tab. Our last 7, last 15 are going to look the same because of the week all-star break. And then we've got our last 7 tab, which is the one that we're going to focus on. And typically what we do when we're looking at player props is we come in here and we sort this by points, rebounds, and assists. We're going to sort it from high to low, and we're going to find players with a large difference between their current projection and what they've averaged over the last week. You can see now we've got a couple of games under our belt, so we've got 2, 3, 4 games that we're going to take a look at, so that's a plus. So we have some good stats. We also compare the minutes. You don't want to take a player who's been averaging 40 minutes, but say they're projected for 8 minutes or 20 minutes or whatnot. You want to be careful of that. And then, as always, we added in the usage rate. That's something a lot of you were looking at. And then I pulled in the last 10 game DVP just to see the total fantasy points allowed. Basically, points, rebounds, and assists add up to fantasy points. And so if we just look at a total of teams that are allowing a ton of fantasy points, those players are better off to hit their prop, depending on what you're going with, than someone that's less. For example, let's take a look at Kobe White and Jeremy Lamb. Now, I'm not looking at the individual players, just look at the totals here. So, would you rather take a prop if you've got one spot left against a team that's allowing 251 fantasy points per game, or one that's only allowing 213? That's a significant difference there. And we also have the fantasy points allowed to the position and the percentage of those. And I flipped up the color scheme today on the 28th to where we have just kind of the blue for the less than 20%. And if it's like 20, 21, 22, it's this like goldish yellow. And then the green is 23 and up. So those are ones we can really look at. Again, if a player plays multiple positions, you want to be careful. Some players are shooting guards, small forwards, some are power forward, center. And so wherever they play the majority of the possessions, that's the one that's going to pull. So if you have it, for example, 51%, 49%, it's pretty much they play either one, but it's going to pull the one that has 59% of possessions. So some of the players we're going to look at are highlighted over here in green. So we highlight this, and then we look over points, rebounds, and assists. For example, Miles Bridges was the top guy that came across the board. We do have 4 games. And then looking across here, I'm looking at the differences, and he's got a bump all the way across the board. He's averaging 6 more points than his projection, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.9 assists. So his PRA would be a good one to look at. Poeltl isn't out yet. DeRozan, his numbers are sky high, and he's got a tough matchup that we can see here, but he's been getting it done. Buddy Hield is another one that I wanted to take a look at that we'll go over. You can see rebounds, he doesn't really do much. His assists are up a little bit, and his points are way up, so his PRA is up, so he's another one we're going to take a look at. And then some of these guys like Ja Morant, Hero, Shy, their props weren't out yet, so those are some guys that I'm kind of keeping an eye on. And then Halliburton, when we take a look at him, the one that jumps out here is assist. So he's projected at 8.4. He's been averaging 10.5. So we're going to look at his assist prop and see if it's up yet. It wasn't before I started doing the video. And then Laurie here is going way up on the points, but down in everything else. And he has a decent matchup against a team giving up 243 points. Tough DVP, but again, he moves around a little bit, so just take that with a grain of salt. Butler's another guy we're going to take a look at. But then once you do that, come over here and you can take points and sort high to low and just look at the differences of the points and just start looking, are they playing the same amount of minutes? Okay, what are they averaging? Where's he at? You can do the same thing with rebounds, and then you can do the same thing over here with assists, which are always fun. Your rebounds and assists are going to be a lot smaller numbers because, well, points, you have a 2-pointer and a 3-pointer, so you get a big gap. A rebound, it's 1, so you don't have as big of a gap. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those guys, and then I'm also going to, look over some college plays as well. So the first guy we talked about, and one of my favorite guys to go after tonight, is going to be Miles Bridges. So he's doing pretty good pretty much all the way across the board. Points 19.5. I mean, he's got 29, 29, and 28 in 3 of the last 4. I think that's solid. But the one that jumps out at me is his rebound. So one of my favorite props tonight is Miles Bridges rebounds over 6.5. He's got 10, 10, 11, and 13 over the last 4 games. So he is absolutely killing this number. So for him to get 7, I mean, he could take a 30% decline in production over his last 4 games and still hit this number. So that's one that we like to go over. And I don't mind even if you get into like his PRA number, his points, rebounds, assists. You can see he got under it a little bit. But again, rebounds is my favorite, but I don't think you can go wrong there either way. And then taking a look at Laurie, the one that jumped out at me, I like his points. That's the first one. So in 3 of the 4 games, he's went way over this number. I mean, just absolutely killed it. So we only need him to get 16 points tonight, and he's got games of 23, 22, and 28 in 3 of the last 4. Yeah, he could miss it, but there's a high probability that he continues on with that streak. The other one that jumped out at me, rebounds, he's kind of hovering right around that, so I don't love that. I mean, he's covering it by the hook. But his points, rebounds, assists jump out. 23.5, we need 24, and he's got 30, 29, and 35. So what I like is just how far over this line he's getting. So if we go back here and we take a look at his rebounds, his number's 5.5, and he's getting 6, 6, 2, 7, 6. He's not really getting over that. He's just barely getting over it, and that makes me a little nervous. But his PRA number, when he's putting up 30, 29, 35, and we only need 23.5, that gives you some wiggle room. So he can have a bad game and still get over this number. So I like those a little bit better. So I like his PRA over 23.5 tonight. That's one that jumped out at me. And then when I was flipping through, this Miami team is pretty stout on defense. Butler is someone that popped up. And when I was flipping through his points, he's all over the place. He can go 2, 15, or up to 30. So I don't like his points prop. There's too much variance in that. But one of the ones, there's 2 that jumped out at me. So his assist and his rebounds, and I like the unders. Now, the thing is, when you come over here and you look at this DVP sheet, I break out exactly what the team's averaging the last 10 games, what they're giving up for rebounds and assists. Now, for Chicago, we're going to look over here. Now, these are the 2 things. So Chicago is giving up a bunch of assists, so the 26th most in the NBA, but rebounds the 4th least amount in the NBA over the last 10 games. So they've been really tough rebounding, but they've been giving up a lot of assists. So take that with a grain of salt. And let me flip back over here. So what I like, where'd we go? So the rebounds, I like him to go under 7 because it's a really good DVP spot. And he's primarily been under this. He had a couple games against Charlotte and Dallas. We can see he went 10 and 10 and went over. And that's possible, but Chicago's been really tough. I don't think this game's going to get out of hand. And Chicago's a really good rebounding team. They don't give up a lot. And in his last 2 games, he has 3 and 2. So I like him to go under 7 rebounds if you want to get an under. His assists, now be careful because Chicago gives up a ton of assists, so take it with a grain of salt. But he is way under this number of 6. He's got 3, 2, 1, 8, and 3 over the last 5 games. So 4 of the last 5 games, he's at half this number. So I think the good DVP for the assist is built in up to 6. I like him to go under this number. I prefer rebounds, but if you can do a same game parlay and take both of them, I don't mind that as well. And then let me circle that. And then Buddy Hield, his prop wasn't out until right before I started recording this video. And what jumped out at me, I like all of these. Indy's playing really good. They just beat Boston last night, which I think shocked the world. I think they were a 9.5-point dog. But the one thing that jumps out is his points, rebounds, and assists over 26.5. He's primarily a scorer, but he has been contributing with some assists, a few rebounds, and getting in there. And we need 27, and he's been over that in 4 of the last 5 games. I mean, he barely got over it here, but these other games, he's got a healthy amount, 41, 42. He's crushing that number. It's not a great matchup against Orlando, but they should be able to get the job done the way they've been playing recently. If you want to look at his points prop at 17.5, I definitely don't mind that one as well. I mean, he's got 21, 29, and 36 in 3 of the last 4 games. He's skying this number. And what I like about it is when he did miss it, he's at 15, so he's right there. And then 13's a little low, but he's picking it up a little bit, so I like that one to get over as well. And then the other one I want to look at in the NBA is Tyrese Halliburton. So he's getting back on track with his assist. So I love this guy on assists. Like you can see here, he had 14 and had 11. We rode this for about 5 games straight, and he was just absolutely killing it, averaging about 12 a game, and then he kind of went down and then got traded and moved over. So he's been doing decent with Indy. This 7 game he missed, don't worry about that. That was over the All-Star break. But other than that, he's been under by a half a point, heavily over, and over. So he's getting over this number quite a bit. So I like that to get over again, the 8.5 assist. Those are what's jumped out at me for the NBA so far. Like I said, there's some other ones I want to look up, like Poeltl when he comes out. DeJounte, he's another big assist guy that averages quite a bit. I want to take a look at those. But I want to flip over to college and take a look at some of those plays. College is one that's kind of, we dabbled with it a little bit and actually had a lot of fun. So I've been poking around a little bit. So let me show you one that is a lean for me tonight, and then we'll go over the 5 that I like. So Mark Smith for Kansas State, his rebound number is 8.5 against Texas Tech. It's a tough matchup, but he's been over this several times. You can see 9, 9, 10, 10, 9. So he's been over this 5 in a row. And then if we go over here and we take a look at the individual games, like, so for him to get 9 rebounds, like these are his recent game logs, and he's over, under. So he's got a heavy over mark, but not by a ton, so that falls into a lean for me. So if you need an extra one, now I'm going to go over my top 5 that I like, and I'll have one more lean. So one of the ones that I love is Caleb Love for UNC, and it's going to be over points. So you can see he's been over this number quite a bit, all 5. He's averaging 18 points in the last 5 games, 16, 16, 21, 19, and 18. So he's easily getting over this. They're going up against Syracuse tonight, which they should have a win. And then let me pull up. All right, so Caleb Love points. We got his prop number here, 14.5. So how many times did he hit 15? So he's got over, under, over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's 9 of the last 11 games he's been over this number. So I love Caleb Love to continue the trend and get over. Anyone that's hitting more than 80% of the time, I think you got to take a shot on, as long as it's not a super tough DVP matchup. So he's the first one we like in college. The second one is going to be Bryson Williams for Texas Tech, and we like his points prop to go over. You can see he's been over this in 4 of the last 5, and what I like is he's getting over it by a healthy margin. So we need 14. He put up 21 in his last game out. 13, just missed it by half against Oklahoma, which was a tougher matchup. But then 19, 17, 16, easily getting over that. And when we go back over and we take a look at his, let me close these out. When we look at his game log, so his number here, we need 14. So he's got over, under by a half, over, under, under. So you can see recently he's been going well over. And then I had a couple games under, but really not doing too bad. So I like Bryson Williams to get over 13.5 points again. I think that's a solid one. And then number 3 is going to be Graham Ike for Wyoming. And I love this prop. There's 2 I like. I like over 10.5 rebounds, and I also like over 20.5 points. So let's look at the 20.5 points. So he's been skying over this number, 27, 26, 25. He's been getting over it by a healthy margin. And then his rebound prop that we said we liked, he's been climbing over that. I mean, massive rebounds, 15, 13, 12, 18 in 4 of the last 5. And then when we go in here and we take a look at his game logs, throw him out. So Graham Ike here. So we need 21 points. So he's been over, under, over, 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 under, over. And then he had a few games under, and then he had 3 games over. So the majority of the time he's getting over there, and we like that. Rebounds, he needs 11, so he's been over, over, over in 3 straights. He was under at New Mexico, and then over, over in the prior 2. So, I mean, he's been over in 5 of 6. So we like the way that he's playing right now. San Diego State is a tough matchup. They play slow, and they are really good defensively. So I would probably lean over to his points on this one rather than rebounds. But either way, I think we're good. It should be an interesting game to watch. And then the 4th play that I like is Armando Bacot, whatever his name is. And what I like here is 12.5 rebounds. Now that seems like a lot, but look at this, 18, 15, 15, 14. He's putting up a ton of rebounds. So let's go see how many rebounds Armando's had. So over, 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 under, over. So over in 4 of the last 5. And he has some massive games here. He had 22 against Louisville, 18 against Boston College, 20 against Virginia Tech, 22 against UVA, 17 against Notre Dame. So he's had some big games. So I like that against Syracuse. He is a good one. Let me make a note of that. And then going on, the next pick that we like, which is going to be number 5, is going to be Pete Nance for Northwestern. And the one that jumps out here is rebounds. And I actually like the under here. Let me close that. So I like his under. He's been under this in 5 straight games. He's only averaging 3.2, and Iowa's a really good rebounding team. So you can see over the last 5 games, he has 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, and his number's 5. So to kill us, he has to get 6. So let's see how often Pete Nance has done that. So we're going to come over here. We're going to take a look at his game logs. So how many times has he hit 6? So under, push, under. He got over there, and then push, under, push, loss, under, push. So he's only been 6 or more, 1, 2, 3 times in the last 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 times in the last 12 games. So you could say, hey, he's 9 and 12 for not killing us. So if you want to do an under, I had some people say, oh, you play too many overs. Well, overs are fun. That's what we want to play. But if you want to play some unders, I found one for you. Take Pete Nance. Rebounds under. That one looks pretty good. Those are the 5 I like, and I have one more lean for you to go with Mark Smith, and his number was not in any of the projections, but Isaiah Hill for Fresno, 12.5 points against New Mexico. So he's someone, they didn't pull up his game logs, so I wasn't able to pull them and show you, but 12.5 points seems reasonable. He's got 15, 15, 16, and 25 in 4 of the last 5. Colorado State's a really tough matchup. He only had 7 there, but 12.5 seems like a fair number if you want to go after that. So those are some of the prize picks props that I like today. So go make some money and good luck.